Oh, and he's back. Hello and welcome to. I don't even know what number we're on. Is this five of
Six, I think so.
Command? No, this must be five. One of five or six Command Protocols podcast where we've not even done that many. And we're already losing track.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I am Matt, just sober Matt, and this is Resurrected Andy.
Yes.
Uh, how have you been?
I've been good. I've been good.
Good, good. I have also been good. I've been sober, dry January, and then I went and spoilt it all over the weekend at the ITT, but we'll get over to that later on.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of ITT, how did your weekend go?
Very well. I went with my local team, some friends, and we smashed it. Absolutely.
What was your score in the end for your team? What was your
We
team score?
we went 4-1 and came seventh out of 140.
That's really
So
good. Really, really good.
absolutely above what we were expecting. And yeah,
Nice. Well done.
thank you. How was your IT team, Matthew?
Well, last time I went undefeated, so we technically went undefeated.
Yeah.
Um, but obviously that was four draws and a win. It would have been two wins, but I kind of messed it up. So, but we'll talk about that in a minute. So, what
Hmm.
list did you take to the ITT?
So I took the same list I took to Nottingham to the ITT because I missed the submission deadline. Basically,
Nice.
I was trying out new lists that I wanted to try to take, but just in case I missed, I had already submitted the list I took. Just update it as needed. And then yeah, I was so involved in my TTS game at the time that I missed the submission deadline. So I took the same list that I took to Nottingham.
Yeah, you did say you were thinking about some hypercrypt list, but really wanted a test game, and that test game must have just gone on a little bit too long.
Yes, no, it was such a good game. It was so good that I completely forgot the time, and yeah. But as I said after the Nottingham GT, that the list wasn't the problem. It was me that weekend, and I went 5-0 at the ITT, so I think I kind of reprieved myself a little bit, and
Nice.
yeah, yeah.
I took Grey Knights, the Warpbane Task Force. I think I took it because our team needed something that was good into infantry and also something that can create like draws from losses, I guess. Like Warbane do a lot of damage. They do so much damage when they need to. And they just kind of push differentials on their already winning matchups, I feel, with the build that I was going for. And I took a Storm Raven. I was one of two people that took a Storm Raven. I took only two Dread Knights, but the other fella, I can't remember his name. I think it was Sam Nash, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, we both took Storm Raven, but he took no Dread Knights, and I took two because I still wanted to open up some transports. But it was good. I technically went 4-1, but uh, like if you look at
Oops.
the scoreline, yeah, I went 3-2. So we'll go into that as I said. So talk to us about your game one, Andy.
So game one, I got paired into Orcs, which
What was the
wasn't
mission?
uh,
Anyone that doesn't know,
UKTC standard mission was terraform on sweeping engagement and swift action. I think.
that is it. That is
Yeah,
it.
thank God. I mean, I've played it so many times. You'd have thought between tournaments they might switch it up a little bit, but
Mm,
it's the same. All is the same. So yeah, that was round one, and it wasn't what I was hoping for out of the group. Um, Orc melee pressure, they can just dump everything in the center, terraform turn one, and then I have to deal with that pressure and try and stop them terraforming, and that can be a tricky proposition sometimes. But I went first and killed a bit of stuff, and then he charged me with all of his mega nubs, and I just basically killed them all on turn two. And by turn four, he had 2 little units left, and that was it. So
Nice. That's
yeah,
pretty good.
it went really well. It was a 20-0. There was a bit of a mismatch in terms of experience at playing tournaments, but my
It's
opponent.
always the way with the first round, right? Unless you're quite unlucky, you'll usually go into somebody that's less experienced because there's a whole pool of people. And how many people went to this tournament? I think it
700,
was, yeah. So how many
700
teams?
people, the biggest
100 odd teams
140, the biggest teams event in history.
in the world. Yeah,
Until the next one, of course.
139 teams
I
apparently.
think one team
Uh,
dropped, didn't they? So
yeah, preemptively, yeah. But one team dropped after day one, which is
yeah.
interesting.
But
Um,
my opponent's army was absolutely insanely good looking.
oh, nice. Was
One
it?
of the best orc armies I've ever seen. To be fair.
I don't know what it is about orc players, but they always just have like the most amazing collections.
No, no, no. Trust me, I have some friends who have orcs, and they are not the prettiest orcs in the world. They're just like, here, throw some paint on it, and that'll do. Because.
Fair enough.
But
So,
how about your round one?
well,
This is sober, right? Sober Matt played round one.
yeah, this is
Okay.
sober me. This is sober Matt. So, a little about that as well. So,
Now we'll get to
I
that. We'll get
we'll
to that.
get
We'll
to
get
that,
to that.
aren't
We'll
we?
get to
All right, all right, all right, all right. So, round one, Lords of War, who are a decently well-known team around the north. They play Bolton area and they host a lot of tournaments and team tournaments. So me expecting that because they host a lot of team tournaments, they wouldn't make their comp illegally. So if for anyone that's unaware, is you're only allowed one of each codex from your whole team. So for example, one lot of Chaos Space Marines, one lot of Agents of the Imperium, either as allies or as their own army, um, and so on and so forth. And one of our opponents had Chaos Knights, and the other guy playing Chaos Space Marines had Chaos Knights as allies. So he got. I told him that we got paired into them, and I know some of them. So I messaged Lewis, and I was like, Lewis, one of your teammates has got Chaos Knights, mate. You need. And I've had to report it because you'll just get told to take your models off for the whole weekend. So you might as well just take the penalty of whatever it is for the first round, and then you can go and play on. And they got a 2 point penalty for that one guy's game, so 10 battle points basically. So we lost paint score essentially for that round, so not the worst. We did all the pairings. I did all the pairings. I sorted it all out. This is the first time I'd ever done it, and I ended up playing the Grey Knight Mirror, but he was playing the base detachment, Ben Facey. I apologise if that's how you don't pronounce your last name. He's a very good Grey Knights player, and I lost to him at Manchester last year, and I thought I was in a bit more trouble than I actually was because he had librarians and stuff. So I said it was a small loss because he gets feel no pain and stuff against me. And then he went first, terraformed. I couldn't stop it. I shot 3 lots of indirect pieces and charged some strike marines and didn't kill them, which was 9 points. And I was already losing. He terraformed. It was not looking very good. And then he kind of came out with 2 dread knights on one flank to shoot one of my dread knights. And then by some miracle, I managed to kill about 1,000 points of his army in my turn by rapid ingressing the Storm Raven in, flying it over to my opponent's deployment zone on his home objective, dropping some purifiers out, and then that gives a 6 inch aura of being able to be to 6 inch deep strike within their 6 inch aura and charge. So I just dropped the Tech Marine in with his servitors, shot and killed the Dread Knight, shot and charged some Terminators with the Librarian, killed all of them, killed the Calidus, killed another Dread Knight and 5 Interceptors on the side of the board, and he had basically one Dread Knight and 10 Paladins left, and that was it. And then
nice.
I killed all the Paladins in the following turn by making his charge +2, so he just sat in the middle, and then he had a 4 at Fiona Penny against Psychic, but the Storm Raven is not Psychic, so
No.
and all the multi melters from the servitors. So it ended in a 17-3 to me because he just couldn't. I just killed him so quick. Like, the problem with normal Grey Knights is if they start missing, then they can't. the tricks, it doesn't matter if I just kill you. Like, it doesn't
Yep.
matter.
This is the legendary Grey Knight Stormraven with flat 3 attacks on its plasma cannon, where
Oh,
every other
so
Stormraven in
good.
the universe gets D3. And I mean, every blast weapon, right, is D3 or
Hmm.
D6. And this is the only one I know of that just gets, nope, you just get flat 3. So,
Yeah. So
Games,
good into the paladins, just
Games
5
Workshop,
shots.
please actually fix this because, they should be more points or something. They're getting 3 extra shots.
We deserve it. It's fine.
Why?
I
You
don't
have
know. It's
no, absolutely not.
punish. It's good. It's
Does it,
good.
does it have the keyword to pick up and down in another game?
No, no. You have to have deep strike to be able to be picked up.
Okay, fair enough.
But it's very good. It did its exact job. What I
Yeah,
wanted it to do every round was have purifiers in, rapid ingress, fly 20 plus inches, and then drop them wherever I needed them. It's
yeah,
usually their deployment zone, and then it gives me a 6 inch charge from that, which is really nice because Grey Knights really struggle to get behind your opponent's back line now, because it's like only 9 inch deep strikes unless you already have guys there to make it a 6.
nice.
So it really really helped a
No,
lot.
it's good
Yeah,
tech.
it was very
Makes
good.
makes me want to revisit the Night Scythe in
Yeah, then
Necrons.
we've been cooking up some bits with the night side, trying to do the same kind of thing because I think that it just pushes the differential a little bit more in teams, which is exactly what I needed to do in my list. So, but yeah, that was round one. We both got a win there, not for our team.
Yeah,
I'm not
Matt,
100% sure what our score was round one overall, but we did quite a comfortable win. Richard actually got a 20, so he didn't even need the extra two. He
you
got
say you
22.
say that like you didn't expect him to do it.
Well,
I think
in
you're very
after
mean.
what happened in round four or whatever it was,
Well,
bless his heart.
we got 85 points as a team. Like the rest of my team did really well as well
Let's
in
have a
round
look
one.
what we got. So, do you want to tell us about your round two?
Yeah, so round two, I played into. I've got to have a look at my phone here. Tyranids Assimilation Swarm, which is like Tyranids is the one army that I lose the most to randomly. Maybe it's just a psychological thing, but sometimes I can overthink it. But this game, I didn't really. I just, you know, just went out there and played a bit cagey, made sure that I tried to deny him scoring. And I mean, round two was Purge the Foe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Purge the Foe is really difficult to stop people from scoring the minimum like 32 points on, because you just hold your home objective the whole game. That's going to be 16 points. And then if you just get a kill every turn, then that's another 20 points. So actually 36 points is, I mean, if you don't give him a kill turn one, then it's 32 points. I managed to keep him to, what was it, 28 points, I think, or 24 primary? 28 points. So, that's how I ended up with a 15-5, I think it was.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
Nice. Anything exciting happen in that game, or was it just quite
nothing memorable,
for
to be
no?
honest. Like, my games weren't particularly memorable. They were just, just kind of standard, go there, play as well
Shoot
as I can,
thing. I
beat
think I
things,
remember coming
smelly
over to you at
things.
that point.
Yeah, your games seem to finish a lot sooner than mine. Um,
Yeah, to be fair, so we played into Trash Wargaming, which Alex Fowler, Ben is on. I've played against Ben before. Super nice dude. Honestly, one of the best opponents played against. Super nice. And then I'd done Dry January, and I was like, well, I'm gonna celebrate a bit, and I bought a bottle of whiskey with me, and I was just gonna be drinking, but I hadn't had that much to eat, and this was like the first drink I had, and I felt it almost hit me straight away, and so I was pretty buzzed this game. I was playing against Ed. What's his Eldar list, which essentially is an Avatar, a Wraith Knight, um, and then various single chaff units. Essentially, it is very very good against mech, but I don't have that much mech. I think it's good against Grey Knights as well, but I basically increased um, my differential, my score, or my points prediction. Sorry, that's it. I increased my prediction, um, because it's purge, and so I can hunt after those units quite comfortably. So if he only has a Wraith Knight, which I can't touch, and an Avatar that I can't touch, and nothing else is alive, that and I can always kill more than he can, then hopefully I should win. Like I get a small win out of it. But then I go first. I move on to the middle. And I get really, really good cards. I get Cleanse Secure, which are like the most perfect cards, aren't they, really? And I get the full 9 for that. And then he moves his Avatar out, and he obviously gets +1 to charge, but I can make it -2. So I was like, I needed an 11. He uses a 6, and it's 11 after his +1, I think, as well. And he just fucking natty rolls a 6. And I was like, you piece of shit. You
That
got
was
Overwhelming.
a greedy charge. That was.
Yeah, well, it's not that greedy because I can't kill him. So there was like no downside to him doing it. I can't
Fair
kill
enough.
him at all.
Yeah,
I do not have the capabilities. I could grenade him, hope I get 6 grenade hits, and then
do that
try and
twice.
shoot him. Yeah, it's near impossible for me to kill him because I'm winning on 6s with near enough everything in
Yeah,
my whole army because he'd be -1 to be wounded. Um, so yeah, he hit the charge, got overwhelming and a kill. And I'm like, bloody hell. And it's not even that I mean, it's not. It is kind of likely that he kills me, but he needs 6 hits, 6 wounds. I need to not roll a 6 up. He only gets 5 wounds through, I need to not roll a 6 up because I get a 6 up save. Then, he might not even kill me. It's not even guaranteed. But yeah, the game basically went as he did that. Then I killed some chaff that I could see by doing movement tricks and indirecting him. I got 3 kills, and he still managed to catch up to me for 3. So he got hold more, then he got killed, and then I got killed. But my cards were still really good, and his weren't. And then I did the Storm Raven play again, where I rapid ingressed it, flew it into his deployment zone, and killed 4 units or something with just that and the guys I dropped out, and took his home, so he didn't get hold more. And then essentially the game was going to be an 11-9 to him if he killed a Dread Knight with an entire Wraith Knight, and he didn't. So it was an 11-9 to me.
fair
Um,
enough.
yeah, sometimes they just miss, I guess. But it
Well,
was really fun, and I
he
was
must.
starting to definitely feel the booze at that point because I'd had quite a bit to drink.
He must have been out of fate dice, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Otherwise, it's guaranteed to die.
He can't flip. He couldn't flip any because I killed the Farseer
No, that's
as
good.
well, so he had no 6s left, and I got rid of his fate dice generation by killing all his home.
Yeah, because I know you were feeling it to this because at this point I came over to say hello to you, and you tried to get up off the floor and face planted it. So
Did I? Oh, wow,
you did.
I've got so many stories being told to me that I can't remember.
Well, yeah. Oops.
So, how did your round 3 go, Andy?
So round 3 we played against one of
Oh,
the.
sorry. I forgot to
What?
say as well. We drew that round.
Uh,
I think it was a small because Gareth. I accidentally gave him the wrong table. I gave him a light board, which I shouldn't have done because it just let Alex like shoot doom bolts at him from 36 inches away.
nice.
And yeah, a bit rough, but we drew. So happy enough with that because Dan as well managed to get an 18 into guard as Eldar. So completely crazy. But
That's a
yeah,
good
that
point.
was good. So how was your round 3? Sorry.
So, yeah, so round 3 we played against one of the Mine Goldman's teams, claiming to be the best team, but I think they were the second best Mine Goldman's team because obviously the actual best Mine Goldman's team won the whole event. So we played this, and I think we got the pairings wrong. I think we lost this round. Yeah, we were playing against a good team with some good players, and we looked at it and thought, well, if we can get 4 really close games and then 1 win, that would be really strong. And looking at the looking at the opponents' lists, we thought the best chance would be me and 2 guard, and then for very close games, maybe draws or a close loss and a close win somewhere, and then I just had to kind of get a good win. But this one was take and hold, right?
Yeah, in supplies.
Yeah, so very hard to stop people from scoring because you've got 6 objectives that are worth 5 points each. So being able to control all of the ones in no man's land to deny your opponent's primary is not the easiest thing to achieve in the world. And as it was, I ended up with a small winning a close game. I made a few mistakes, leaving too many little guys left alive, like one or two men from a unit because I got greedy with my targeting. So I ended up with a 11-9 win, but we had three other close games and then one blowout. So that's where we got the pairings from, and that's what probably cost us the round. Whereas if we'd got the pairings right, then we could have maybe achieved at least a draw in that match. But we finished day one 2-1, which can't complain about really. We played against a team that was better than us, or at least as good as us on paper, and we didn't do a great job with the pairings. So yeah.
Mhm.
How about your round three? Do you remember any of it?
I do remember the begin. So at this point, I'm like absolutely smashed. I've had probably half a bottle of whiskey, if not more, in a very short amount of time, with not much to eat, and I just, it hit me so quick. So my opponent, I can't even remember his name, but he was so nice, really, really nice dude. He was playing Tau, and I predicted a small win or drawish, because kill I can kill all his scoring and then just deny basically and do the drop in thing. So, and if I just hide, then it's just quite drawish. He can't push on me because I can just kill. If he comes out, then I can't just kill him. So he can't really push on me. Um, and then yeah, round one and two, I remember, or turn one and two, and I remember I managed to get a charge off on his suits, and I killed all the suits in combat with some purifiers, and I shot and killed another squad as well. And then I just don't remember anything. I just blacked out completely. I had so much to drink. Um, I honestly don't remember a single thing. And then later that night, so we won the round. I got told we won the round, and then later that night, we went back to the hotel. Um, we like I was stood. The hotel we're at was really nice, and there was some really steep stairs at the top of the stairs. And apparently, I was just stood at the top of the stairs. Gareth was saying, and then they were like, "How's he going to get down?" And they just saw my hand on the banister or like the side of the door, and then it just slipped, and I fell down the stairs like a sack of potatoes. And this is me at the bottom of the stairs there. Uh, yeah, very good. And that wasn't the first time that that happened. I fell down the stairs many times. Um, oh,
Yes.
let's change that. And then, yeah, I fell down the stairs many times like that. I was violently ill, super sick. I got lost outside. I went to my van because I couldn't find I went to my van to get my bag, and I couldn't find the house to get back in. So I just sat in my van, apparently just revving the engine to like warm it up, and because I got a bed in my van, and then Richard came and found me. I went back inside. I've lost my jumper. I lost my charger. No idea where they went. Yeah, and I fell down the stairs many times. I threw up like there's on the picture there was kind of laminate flooring. I threw up all on the floor and like cleaned it up. Ugh, it was
I'm not
horrible.
sure we want to know all this, really.
No, 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 it was not good. But
No.
then they said, "Oh, next day, yeah, we won the round. I got an 11. I've won my game. I somehow won my game. I don't even remember winning." And we came to the thing, and the judges pulled Dan to one side, and they were like, "Yeah, we've had to give him a 0 because of how intoxicated he was. He was just way too drunk, and it was because I was drinking my own. Like I didn't buy it from the venue, basically. So lesson learned: don't drink on an empty stomach." But I should have already known that as an adult. And yeah, everyone was super sound who I spoke to about it. Honestly, it was literally nothing malicious. So we ended up winning the round, but then it went to a draw because of my 0. So unfortunately, we finished the first day 1-0-2. But it's all good fun, like playing some Warhammer, getting a
Yeah,
few.
I'm sure.
It was fun. It was. It was. It's just I don't think I'd do it again.
Fair
But
play. Okay.
Yeah, it's fair enough. But yeah, what happened, round 4 for you then?
So round four was I played into Tyranids again. Again, not my favorite matchup, but my opponent was a fantastic guy to play against. But yeah, I don't know what happened. I just kind of ran him over a little bit. I denied anything that he tried to score and just killed everything in sight. Basically, the layout was really beneficial for me because I had a longer range than he did, so I could sit at the end of the table and just go, well, if you're going to stick out, I'm going to shoot you first because you're never going to get to shoot me first. And at some point, he felt like he had to, and then that was just it. I could get to hit him before he get to hit me, and yeah, that was the story. Really, he couldn't kill anything until I think it was like round four before he started killing things. So
Yeah, we've got to remember the burden of trust is this mission, and it's
yeah,
also the worst one in the pack.
it's the worst one in the pack because if you get into a close game with an equally skilled opponent, you do not score primary and hardly at all. Whereas if you end up against somebody who hasn't maybe played the match quite as much or the mission quite as much, they can make a few mistakes. And I think this was the first time I maxed out Burden of Trust on primary in all of my games playing it in the
Really?
ITT tournament. I couldn't believe it. I think I overmaxed it actually because the last round I was guarding 5 objectives and holding 5 objectives.
Yeah, that's pretty
So
good.
that's like a ridiculous amount of points. I think it's still capped, but
It
even
doesn't cap.
it
It
doesn't cap.
doesn't.
Well,
No.
there you go. The app capped it at 50. That's all I can.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But
So I. Oh yeah, go on, carry on.
no, it's cool. There's not really much to say. It was just um, everything kind of went my way that game, basically.
Did you guys win that round as well? Then I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
so I think that was our second biggest win, maybe of the round. No, it was our biggest win of the tournament. We got
Oh,
93
nice.
points.
93.
We got
Wow, that's
93. We got the pairings absolutely spot on. Um, and I think four of us got 20 O's and one of us got a 13-7.
who got that 13?
I can't remember. I don't want to name and shame people.
Yeah,
I
getting
think that
subbed
was it.
out.
It might not have been four 20 O's, but I think maybe three.
Mhm.
But it was
Nice.
we we got kind of lucky on our pairings in some of these rounds. I'll be really honest. We look at the quality of some of the teams that are on show at this event, and we managed to play one of them basically.
Mhm.
So, how
Yeah.
about your round four? Now that you'd woken up and had some
Oh
breakfast
yeah.
at
After
McDonald's,
feeling horrible, we saw you at Mackey's in the. You were at the drive-through. I just remember that. That was so good. And yeah, I had an amazing caramelized frappe, and that's actually saved my life. That brought me back from the depths of despair. And we played against Sanguine Spanners. But bearing in mind, when we got paired, we were 2-1,
right?
2-0-1, and then since then it had been changed to a draw. So technically now we're paired up into this team, and I know they're quite good. Um, we showed up. We I said essentially, yeah, put me into any of this except guard. I think it was. I was like, put me into any of this, I'll win. I'll win any of these games. I'm pretty comfortable with any of these matchups. So I went down to like the last bit, the scrum at the end, and they put me into demons, into Nurgle demons. They just like threw him under the bus because apparently nobody wanted to play into him, and that is like my easiest game. Nurgle Demons is the easiest game for this detachment. I've got a flyer they can't touch
Yeah,
in like at all. I didn't even need to start it in flyer. I should have put it in hover because I can just sit outside of their charge range and just fire a million bolter shots and everything else right in front. That they can't do anything about it because they have no shooting whatsoever. Um, he put Rotigus on the line. He had about 10 health left by my turn one, and he was outside of his charge range, so he just couldn't, and he couldn't even reach the objective. So he was just sat there, just took a full beating. He then pushed out with 3 Plague Bearer units of 6. A War Dog went on one of the objectives, and then I just killed his pretty much everything that I could see. He had one Great Unclean one on 6 wounds, 20 plague bearers and a war dog left by turn 3, and then he gave up. Essentially, he said, "Oh, nobody wanted to play Grey Knights." I got 20-0. He scored 17 points overall in that game. He got a couple of secondaries. Yeah, it was rough. He brought in the Demon Prince from reserves, and I just did the +2 or -2 to his charge. It was an 11. Just couldn't do anything about it. It's really, really bad for him. So
Fair enough.
yeah,
Okay.
unfortunate.
So round 5.
Oh well, we drew that round. I was going to say we had a losing draw because we had some swings not in our favour as we were expecting certain pairings to go better. But Richard said that the heavy board kind of messed him up a bit because of the scouts against Wolfen and stuff, and he pushed quite heavily, but it backfired essentially. So we ended up drawing, but it's better than losing, I suppose. So we did okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, round 5. How was yours then?
So round 5 for us was a bit interesting because we got the pairings, and then we spent 20, 25 minutes outside having a chat about who wants to play what we're going to put down first, how we think they're going to approach the pairings. And then about 5 minutes before we went to the table, we found out that the pairings had changed. We were playing a different team. So all of the prep that we kind of got ready was gone. So we had a small amount of time to quickly change our minds. Like, it wasn't even the same armies. I think there was orcs and that was it. The rest was completely different. So we didn't get the pairings perfectly right this time. We ended up with a couple of matchups that we wanted to try and avoid. I ended up into guard again, but this time it wasn't the bridgehead strike. My opponent deployed and gave me like an opportunity to shoot a tank turn 1. So I got first turn and took it, and I shot basically my entire army into this Rogal Dawn. And I think I did 4 wounds and took the blank off it.
Oh dear.
I know. The Rogal Dawns and Tyrant Effects, they just will never ever die. I just don't know what it is. I just shoot them, and they can't die. And this one was Scorched Earth, so it's, you only really concentrate on making sure you hold 2 objectives during the game, and then towards the end you try and burn, and then maybe get your opponent's objectives to burn their home. And so going second, I was at a disadvantage because it's easier for him to burn at the end of the game than it is for me. And I kind of deployed it slightly wrong. I went heavy on one side, secure my area, but he had Gaunt's Ghosts on his flank objective, and I could never touch them because surrounding it was 4 other tanks. So anything I poke out to try and reach there, which would take me 2 turns, would just die. So it was very difficult for me to stop him from scoring. I had to plan it perfectly so that I could put everything out turn 3 from one side to the other, so I could then try to take on his tank block, and then by turn 4 deny the primary where Gordon's Ghosts were, and then turn 5 get to his home objectives. And it all kind of worked out in the end. I stuck out my Reanimator turn 3 at the same time as the Silent King, the Doomsday Arcs and stuff came out too, and burnt the central objective, which gave him a very tricky dilemma. It was, put everything into this, durable -1 to wound, 4 at feel no pain, -1 damage Reanimator, or go into my tanks and my Silent King. And he went into the stuff that kills him and didn't really do much damage. So I managed to burn and then basically kind of tabled him towards the end. But it wasn't a big win because, I couldn't stop him scoring those 60 points. So, it was a 17-3 in the end. My list could have handled this particular mission better. Like, 1 squad of Tomb Blades would have been quick enough to get from my safe area to deny his primary for at least a turn, which, would have been really handy. And then it would also made him step out to try and kill him, and I could have, taken him on a bit at a time rather than just trying to juggernaut my way through at the end.
Yeah, nice. So we played into, I can't remember what they were called, but but really nice guys. I think they're from Newcastle. So our pairings, I think, so obviously I was doing the pairings with Dan through most of the weekend, and I think we kind of messed up a bit on this one towards the end. I had a really bad matchup into guard. I was like, this is my worst pairing. It was full mech guard, I was like, this is my worst one. On Scorched as well, where I know for a fact that they can just put 10 dudes in a Taurox and send it to my expansion objective whenever they want and deny me hold two. So he will always be ahead on primary if I can't, because I will really struggle to deny him, except for maybe one turn when I bring the Storm Raven in. And so, but then, so it ended up that I was in the scrum instead. I should have been the second put down basically, and I wasn't. So I ended up in the scrum, and it was a choice between me going into Gene Stealer Cult or Gareth going into Gene Stealer Cult with Chaos Knights, or it was me into guard, Gareth into guard, and we were like, well, I think Gareth's going to get more points out of Gene Stealer Cults than I will, and guard will get more points out of Gareth than that he would if he played against me. I'll try. I said I'm going to try and just keep it to a 5. That was my plan basically, because it is really tough on that mission. So I go first as well on Scorched, which is terrible as well. I move on to the expansion objective, do some cards, and that's it. That's all I can do. I literally can't do anything. He pushes forward with his Taurox. What a surprise. He gets his guys out. Not shocked. And I'd had my. I don't know how other people would feel, but I had my whole. I did all my scouts, had my entire turn, and then he got to his turn and he was like, I forgot to scout everything. Do you mind if I do it? But he'd already drawn his cards. And I say at the start of every game, I'm like, I don't mind takebacks as long as you're not learn anything new. And obviously he agreed. And I think he felt a bit bummed out because I didn't let him scout everything. But I'd already had a turn and he'd already drawn his cards. So I don't know, how would you feel about it, Andy? But
I think that's the right call. There's too much information gained at that
yeah.
point. You know, if you'd remembered as well when at the start of the game, like, hey, have you done your scouts? Then that could have solved the issue too, because you kind of both need to be aware of each other's um, abilities and stuff as well. But
Mm,
yeah, at that point, you can't really complain because he could have done it halfway through your turn, like, oh, I forgot to scout. Do you mind? And even then, that would have been a bit questionable. But getting to having you move your entire army turn one, or not move it, depending on what he has in place, and then he drawing his cards and then forgetting to scout, I think it's a bit too far.
yeah. Because that came straight after he cut my deck. I get everyone to cut my deck at the beginning, and the way he cut it, I don't think it was malicious, probably just a mistake. Is he cut it upside down, and I thought he might have accidentally looked down when he cut it, so you can see what cards in on the bottom in what order. So I just said, I'm really sorry, but I think you've just accidentally looked at my cards when you've cut it. And he's like, no, are you saying I'm looking at your cards or anything? And I was like, no, 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 I'm not accusing you of anything. I just think you've accidentally had it facing the wrong way when you've cut it. So can you just cut it again? So obviously I said that. And then I said he couldn't scout. And I think he felt quite bad by it. But honestly, it was a really nice game. We had a lot of laughs. Really knew what he was doing with his guard. Like disrespected me, which is exactly what he should do because I can't kill anything that well. I put pretty much my whole army into this Lehman Russ and just killed it. And it shot back at my Dread Knight and put it to 1 wound. I don't think he rolled below a 5 on his number of shots in his Demolisher, and I can't complain because I
Tank,
play a DDA. So
tank commander, yeah.
yeah, the tank Demolisher with a Demolisher cannon,
Yeah.
and yeah, so it was super close. I was winning. His cards were terrible, and despite the fact he put me to a 5 twice, I managed to put him to a 5 twice, and his cards were terrible, and mine were really good. By turn 3, I didn't have much left, but it was like 16-4 to me. I was like, I and my team were like, how's it looking? Are you going to win? I was like, I think he's just going to score so much in turn 4 and 5 that it's just going to put me right back down to a loss. And he basically anything he shot at just died immediately. Not if it didn't need a second activation a single time. He would just aim something at me and be like, "Oh, you're probably going to live this," and then just died. It just died straight away. I was in cover, 2 up save and cover. Doesn't matter. I just
Yeah.
died every time, and it was really unfortunate. I had one unit left by turn 5, and I did a card, and then he got 25 primary because he burnt previous turn, held 10, and then burnt my home as well. So it flipped it to a 7 to me, 13 to him.
Power of
And
going second.
yeah, it's really unfortunate. I can't even play a slower game because he denied me twice. I'm now put in a really bad position where I need to just scramble for any kind of points. Um, but again, Gareth managed to get a 15 in his game. Richard got 7. Dan, I think, got 12, and Josh got 10. So we drew again, like for fourth draw in a row.
Nice.
So we finished, 1 win, 4 draws,
Undefeated.
undefeated. Yeah, glass I'm undefeated, and I'm going to share this, which is
Oh,
the games, the placings. And so we're here, and we were like, we're getting best in bracket, 1 win. We have to, like, we're 1 win, 4 draws. There's no other team that's gonna have 1 win, 4 draws. And we're like, yeah, we're gonna get best in bracket. And then we all left because we were like, we left early, couldn't be bothered staying. We were like, no point even staying here. And then we found out that this team, who had fewer points than us. We were just discussing it, me and Andy, beforehand. They had fewer points than us in every regard: match points, battle points, wins, everything. They finished 44th with only 1 win, 3 draws, and a loss, above people that had 2 wins. I mean, I know it's battle points, right? And then we had this random team with 8 games played. I don't know if they were playing overnight. It was
yeah.
just completely crazy.
The final standings seem a little bit out of
Yeah.
sync,
The,
especially around those 4 or 5 teams above you.
Yeah,
But, but
this is really, really weird.
whether it's because of the change to the win down to a draw, that could have had some effect, but because
Yeah, but
BCP is a little bit
but it's not affected
funky.
the scores, like the match points and everything. It's not. It
Yeah,
just affected where we are. It doesn't really.
but
I don't
yeah,
know
you
what's
are.
going on there, but
Yeah,
so in my mind, in my heart, we got 44th, potentially even 43rd. I think we said, because we got more match points and everything. Um, Probably even higher than TFG, but for some reason not. But it's totally fine. We had a bunch of laughs, lots of stories that we were told. Really fun event, honestly. Like, I love going to team events, and I love going with Glasshammer because it's just a laugh. It doesn't really matter what happens; it's just a
yeah,
laugh,
yeah.
and
I mean,
that's
the people I played with are all amazing
yeah.
to be around. So much fun. We had some good times, even though done we could have done a lot more prep. We could have worked out the armies that we were taking. You know, 'cause our lists weren't ideal. Like we didn't have, pressure armies as such that could, really bully opponents necessarily. We were all like we had a GSC Biosantic and he played really well, but we could have done with one or two other like fast pressure armies that we could put down at the same time and get pairings that we wanted. Where like World Eaters, for example.
Hmm.
So we didn't nail the prep down particularly well. The pairings were a little bit lackluster, but like getting pairings right on 5-man teams is quite difficult because you can't really take 5 SKU lists because you're only really in control of one or maybe 2 pairings, and then the rest are kind of a bit potlookish. Um,
Hmm.
as you can see from like if you actually look at the pairings from some of the top teams, there is still some where you look at this and you go, well, how did these pairings happen? Because this seems like an absolute disaster. Um, so even teams better than us were getting it wrong. Whereas if you take like an 8-man team, then you can have a few more skew lists in there because you can be in a bit more control of how many pairings that you're going to get that you want. So we could have worked on that a little bit better, but we finished 7th. Like, we can't be 7th, 9th, sorry.
I
Yeah,
think
now
it
I'm
is
even, now, I'm even,
seventh.
now even I'm confused. Yeah,
I think it was
what an
seventh,
idiot.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I'm gonna have to check now. Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
seventh. Yeah.
Yeah, ugh, what a blonde moment. So but we did get lucky with our pairings especially in the last round when we could have. There was a lot of really top teams to play. We got paired down, I think, which was really nice. And even then, we made a good go of maybe making it a bit harder than it should have been. But I enjoyed every minute of it. Got to see loads of people that I've come to know from playing this game, and I just can't wait for the next one. Really, team games are so much fun.
Yeah, recommend to anyone, even if it's just with a group of your friends, just grab a ticket and go to the events. Like we as Glasshammer don't prep. We don't put any prep into it. We don't discuss anything. We just turn up with 5 lists that we like, with 5 armies that we want to play, and then we just prep through the pairings that way. But that's how we've always done it. We're not super serious at all. We're just there to like we just happen to be good players, I guess. Like that's why I tell anyone when they talk about Glasshammer, we're not like ridiculously serious. We're just there to have 5 good games of Warhammer.
Yeah.
So that's why I like going with them so much.
Uh, Going to a big tournament, especially if you're not used to going to tournaments, can be quite intimidating, especially if you don't know a lot of people. But if you go to a 5-man teams event with 4 friends, then at the very least you've got 4 friends that you can talk to for the whole 2 days. Whereas if you decide to go to like Nottingham or London and you don't really know anybody, it can be quite a bit lonely sometimes. But I
And you get
mean,
to spend the whole weekend with them as well. That's the best part.
yeah, Coventry's got some really nice Airbnbs as well. Um, so if you wanna go, I highly recommend it. Next
Got
one,
some really steep ones as well,
the next,
stairs wise.
yeah, the next one's in May, I believe, in
Yeah,
Birmingham. So
fourth, I
I,
think it
I
is,
think
isn't
they
it?
want it to be bigger than this one, and given how many players we had at this one, and it only being like 20 miles down the road, I can see it being even bigger.
Yeah,
So
they're getting very popular. They probably already sold out.
yeah, very very
So
probably.
yeah, so that's the wrap up. What so we're going to talk about some lists now, I think,
Yeah. So what we need to talk about a few lists at this tournament. I think, to be
at
honest.
this tournament.
Yeah, at the ITT, because
Nice.
there were 50 Necron players. So if you just like look at the player placings and search for Necrons, um, then
Oh,
we can
look
we can
who's at
have
the
a look at
top.
it. Look at who's at the top. Yes, it was me. There was 2 of us who went 5-0, but I scored more points. So that's why I've been resurrected from my piss poor
By
performance at
two.
Nottingham.
Oh,
Hey, it doesn't matter if you win by an
that's
inch or
good.
a mile, right? But so I don't know if we need to look at my list because we've already been
We
through it
already know what it
before.
is.
It's,
Let's look at
it's
Danny's.
But Danny's list is it's a peach. It's an absolute peach. I don't want to claim that I had anything to do with it, but I was practicing a list similar to this, literally at the submission, completely unrelated. Like he came up with this by himself, I think. But yeah, it's right up my wheelhouse, as you can tell from the fact that there's 2 Tesseract Vaults and the Silent King in a Hypercrypt list.
Yeah, he was. I was chatting to him about it, and
Yeah,
he was saying that it just because of the indirect, it just forces your opponent to move
yeah,
while he just and they're hard to kill. If you sit back,
yeah.
then he'll just kill you indirectly, and if you push out, then he has the damage to kill you on the
So
go.
this is a very, very greedy list, and it's literally designed to kill you as quickly as possible and then score at the end. And maybe not go for 20 O's, but just like look at a list and go, okay, no one really wants to play against this. Maybe no one else can get a big score, so I'll take it. I'll get a win, but it won't necessarily be a big one. And obviously, if there's like a big gap in player skill and stuff, or they actually get the pairings horrifically wrong, then it can give you a big win, depending on the mission. But this is one where if you lose your trash, you're kind of in a little bit of trouble because if you just draw all the action secondaries, there's nothing you can do. But I mean, he did very well. He had 3 big wins and 2 small wins. So
Yeah, it's clearly got some very good matchups, which is what he's going to push
yeah,
with. And he borrowed one of my vaults, and he still has it because I was so desperate to leave. I even remember before I left, and I just got in my van,
yeah,
but it was at the other end of the car park, and I was like, "Oh, my vault!" And I'm just going to text him. He can just keep it till Manchester.
Fair enough. Yeah,
But yeah, super cool list.
it is, and there's a lot of firepower there as well. And if you can keep it away from the list that would look at that and think, oh yeah, I can deal with this. So like Oath of Moment Marines with the +1 to wound on Vindicators and Ballistas tanks would be very happy to play into this, and like Tyranids with three Tyrant effects would also enjoy this as well. So if you can keep yourself away from those lists, then yeah, you're going to do well.
Hmm.
So yeah, I'm
Nice.
a bit jealous that he got to play that list and I had to play Boring Star Chatter,
The
but
bar and stuff.
yeah, well, it's what it is. And then there was a few other players who were technically undefeated with wins and draws. I think it was 4 or 5.
Yeah, there was one, two, three, four, 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 um, O
Yeah,
and ones.
there was James Reed with an obeisance phalanx list that we might want to look at
Oh, did he?
because we don't see obeisance phalanx very often.
No, no.
And he went 4-1.
Triple Overlord with
Sorry, 4.
Translocation Shroud because it's the best one.
Right, hang on. He had 4 small wins, 13 sevens, and then he had a draw.
It's just a blunting list. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, it's just to run forward with
It's just can you kill 30 Lich Guard list?
30
Well, it's
lich,
only
20,
20.
20 lich guard.
What's the other with? 10 Immortals. Oh, for
Yes,
the crit fives.
for the crit fives probably.
And then
And
imitate
then
with 5 of them.
I think the Eternal Conqueror is the rerolls, right? 3 rolls if you're on an objective, so he's going to look at pointing those immortals at units on an objective, so he's got full rerolls to hit and wound.
Yeah.
And then you're probably going to give it +1 to wound as well, and hope that they don't have a 2-up save. Because
Yeah.
obviously Teslas have 0 AP, which
It's definitely got play.
so if this army goes into something like orcs or anything with a really bad save, even guard,
Orcs, GSC, Demons, Guard.
yeah, then they're going to have a real nice time because there's a lot of infantry to get through that can reanimate. There's still the Silent King and some Doomsday Arcs for some actual real big punching. So it's a nice list. I'm not sure how it would fare in singles, but it probably isn't designed for singles, so that's
Well,
fine.
that's the beauty of these teams lists
Yeah,
is they just do a job.
um,
Kieran French.
he's playing Hypercrypt as well with a Nightbringer, a Silent King, and then loads of Destroyers, 2 Doomsday Arcs, and Wraiths. So kind of like a mix max of hard to kill things and then some melee threats going behind them. And then although he is playing the Wraiths without the Crypto Thralls, which
But a lot of small wins again because it is very drawy,
yeah,
like blunting kind of army. It's not
yeah,
built to kill
exactly.
necessarily.
Yeah.
Same again for the
Last
Team
year,
Norway player. I'm going to say
well,
that's all I'm going to say.
you can pronounce his name surely. This was Awakened Dynasty.
I'm not going to try.
Oh, you're gonna try.
So
Come on. 3
Lassie Tilram, less Tilram.
Yeah,
Well,
three
there you go.
reanimators. That's very spicy.
Absolute baller. What a fucking baller that is.
Yeah. So
Don't
this one
die.
has got Wraiths and Crypto Thralls and the stealth enhancement for them. So it's literally all in on Wraith durability here, which we think is the right way to go.
Everything durability apparently with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it.
Yeah.
Very blunting, drawish again. A lot of these scores are not built to kill,
Yeah.
whereas the Hypercrypt is built. Danny's was built for pure damage pushing power, and like it's more of an attacker list. Yours is a bit more all rounder, but you can
Yeah.
make it an attacker
And
because it
then
has the damage.
we also have an Annihilation Legion list, so it is literally the Wild
It's
West
a
here.
mixed bag.
James Ferrier from the War Hamsters. He was a 65th place singles and
Yeah,
Annihilation with a Nightbringer and 3 Scorpet Lords, Trendsetter, 2 Catans, 3 squads of Flayed Ones, and some Destroyers, lots of Omnitics. So
yeah, chaff clear and
yeah,
killers.
so this is probably a list that you want to take into infantry-based builds, not like big bug mids or
Yeah,
CSM car park, for example.
yeah. So just really kind of going after the meta at the moment. It's a lot more. It's getting a lot more infantry base as we go on, I think.
Plus, if there's ever a time to play Annihilation Legion or Phalanx, then it's going to be teams, right? Because you can make your list a bit skew and dodge the list that you know are going to absolutely destroy
Hmm.
you, or at least hope to dodge them anyway. Because you may end up looking at opponents with 4 lists that can destroy you, and you're just like, okay, well, that's that, I guess. So
Hmm. So yeah, those are all the lists from the ITT.
yeah,
Pretty cool. So we can talk about the list over the last weekend or so, last week.
yeah. So the last week and a half, there's been we didn't really discuss any last week, so there's been a couple of interesting lists that have done well in the last week and a half. So
Hmm. So first one we've got is James Grover with Canoptic Court. So
yeah,
one thing we've noticed just looking at those ITT lists is that with the Star Shatter nerfs, people have kind of realised, I think it was going to happen anyway, that Necrons are still in a position to play a lot of different builds. We're not, everybody was just kind of so focused on Star Shatter and playing it out and testing it and stuff like that, that there are good builds that still exist and do well.
yeah, and there's a lot of design space that can be opened up as the meta changes for different detachments to shine. Um,
So
and
this one is Void Dragon.
yeah,
Didn't have 5 points, so that's why.
probably why.
Mhm.
But then he
Zones.
has the Tesla weave, so I would have personally taken that off and run the
Oh
Nightingale
yeah,
instead. But maybe he wanted the Void Dragon, thinking he needed it for anti tank because on paper the Void Dragon's there to kill tanks. But
and
in
his only
reality,
loss was Chaos Demon. So what use is the Void Dragon going to do there?
yeah, well, but in reality, the Nightbringer is better at killing tanks than the Void Dragon is anyway.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's just unfortunate, really.
pretty standard list. Zeraz, one Plasmancer, Techno, 10 Immortals, double Doomstalker, sorry, Reanimator, double Wraiths, Ophidians, Triarch. You feel
Just
like
two,
there's nothing in that, but
just two Doomstalkers, and I think in
yeah, just
Coptic
two.
Court you really want 3 because they are not the most durable. Yes, you can loan up one of them, but you want to be able to fire down at least 2 or 3 different angles. And one Doomstalker doesn't really kill anything, so you usually need to double up, sometimes triple up to make sure you kill the target. So
Hmm. Yeah,
I would look at dropping like the Triarch Stalker, for example, and getting a
yeah.
third Doomstalker in, jimming around the rest of the points a little bit to make that happen. But I mean, Canoptek Court 4-1.
Yeah, it's nothing to snuff at. And you beat the mirror, so must have done something right.
Yeah, the Necron mirror where he was playing Star Shatter with Silent King and Doomsday.
Told you it was the biggest counter.
Well, only one Doomsday Arc, a bit of an interesting list. But
uh,
okay, so the next list we're looking at is
Battleborn Open by Fisher Benzner. Is that right?
Fisher Bensner. Yeah.
Yeah, Fisher.
So this is Star Shatter,
Hmm.
and it's wild. There's no Silent King, no Command Barge with rerolls. It's just a lot of Scorpet destroyers, 3 Triarch Stalkers, and some wraiths and some scarabs, and the scarabs with 1 Technomancer. So, not using them for actions with no C, just probably using them as screens and a bit of counter charge bait. Try and make
Yeah,
sure that it protects the units from
just
being
cheap
killed by the big bots.
vehicles. We're going a lot more MSU, like in a lot of these builds I'm seeing.
Yeah.
A lot, especially the Awakened ones. We're getting a lot of MSU going on.
Well, in Star Shatter now, some of our best strats have been nerfed. The reactive move, the +1 to wound, the -1 to wound. It makes sense now to not rely on them quite so much, which means you're happier to take smaller units because if you're going to use a strat and you want the max value, you probably want to use it on a big unit rather than a small one. So going to small units and just deciding probably not to use those strats at all makes sense, really.
Yeah, I like it. His only loss was to Space Marines. I'm going to assume it was tank Space
I think it
Marines.
was Iron.
T10.
It was Iron Storm.
Yeah, it was Einstein, Rebooting them, and all
Vindicators
that. Jazz.
Ballistas.
Yeah, so it could have been anything that lost that. Really,
Yeah.
it's probably a close game. So yeah,
Okay.
really well done. I'm very impressed. Nice
Uh,
list. Definitely, I'm really liking the Scorpeth Lords and Scorpeths in most lists in the meta at the moment. Big fan. Big
it's our
fan.
only real actual melee threat outside Catan's.
Yeah,
When
and I
you
think we
think
need
about
it.
it, they don't punch up amazingly well, but they can kill little units, and they're small enough to hide potentially as well.
Super good into Marines, which are like popular, very popular now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Lords giving you rerolls and lethals actually helps you punch up against a few tanks, but you don't with three and a Lord, you're probably not killing a tank in one activation, but you might
hmm
be able to survive. So
So then we've got Alex Ing.
yeah,
Alex Ing, who went 5-0 at the Captain Con 40k event.
I
He
think
had Star Shatter as well.
this was the only event win by Necrons this weekend.
Yeah, that's correct.
Um, and he's Star Shatter with the Sound King, which and
His is,
and a barge. So it's a very
yeah,
greedy build, this one.
hmm
But look, three
a
dudes
bit more
there.
of a common one that we're
Yeah,
seeing. It's very similar to what we've tried and tested. Um, yeah, triple DDA Stalker, but he's got an Annihilation Barge as well.
yeah,
Um, Not sure what boards he's playing on, but he beat GC the Cult, which is reasonably difficult, I think. Grey Knights can be difficult. Tau, also Guard is quite hard, and depending on what the Tyranids are. But yeah, he's done well to win that.
I
I
mean,
like.
the Annihilation Barge is going to be good into GSC and Guard specifically because it's got a decent number of shots. Although although he is running a Gauss and a Tesla, but the no AP doesn't really make much difference there because
Mhm.
it can chew through some of their units nicely, and it's still relatively durable. That they have to shoot an entire tank at it to make sure they kill it, or shoot a silent squad, for example.
Yeah,
That's it.
and he's got that spider, so that probably really helped with the Grey Knight match.
Yes, I do like a good spider. Yeah.
So yeah, he's done good.
Uh,
Next one, I guess. So this was the most wins for Necrons, I suppose, without biggest event, I should say. Uprising Adelaide. I think this is in Australia.
yes.
Yeah, Tyler Walsh, 7-1. We were looking at this list and looking at his pairings, and I wish I could speak to this man and ask him personally how on earth he beat Imperial Knights 3 times
Yeah.
with
Every,
this list.
everything about me looks at this list and says, okay, you can charge and kill maybe one little knight, two little knights a turn, but after that, you might be able to get lucky and spike with your immortals, but after that, you're just going to get absolutely massacred. And I spoke with one of my friends who is a really good Knights player, and I said, hey, if I was playing you with this list, do you think I would be able to beat you? And he was like, no. Given that if I played him with a normal list, he wouldn't be sure because it would be a very close game. But with this list, he just not a chance. So I would love to know what happened in all the games because he played Imperial Knights 3 times, although he did play the same player twice in rounds 5 and 6, which I find very strange. So I don't know
Yeah,
what was going on there, but yeah, I'd like to know.
been
And
boosted.
I might even try this out, see if I can find a friend who has Imperial Knights and actually play it just to see, if I can work out how this actually worked because there's no shooting above strength 9 that I can see. There's there's just a lot of AP0, AP1 anti-infantry, and then some strength 4 flayed ones and some strength 7 Scorpec destroyers. So
Yeah.
yeah, if you are Tyler Walsh and the player of this list, please get in touch and give me the lowdown because I'm very interested to see
hmm
what happened.
But really well done on
Yeah,
7-1. Very
absolutely,
impressive.
absolutely.
Right.
Okay, next list we have.
Geek Fest, the Winter War Zone.
Yes.
another 4-1 player. But this man submarined his way up. He did get knocked down, and he did get up again
He did, yes. This
to a
is
4-1. He smashed World Eaters out twice with Awakened.
yeah,
Space Marines and Chaos Space Marines are 3 combat matchups, I'm assuming, with this Chaos Space Marine list. It's probably going to be Bile. It was Fellhammer Siege for host. Okay,
yeah,
let's
interesting.
go.
Yeah, so there's a lot of melee. This is like a
Double Land Raider. Wow.
very
Yeah.
melee focused Awakened Dynasty list. Um, I guess it's just relying on denying primary with the wraiths for as long as possible with the barge.
Yeah.
Like I
Double
played,
Reanimator, double Wraith, so it's hard to chew
yeah,
through.
but only one squad of cryptos, so only one wraith squad with the extra durability and the Cull the Horde target, and then like Ophidians for uppy downy, couple of Gauss destroyers to just kind of help you kill things that like big monsters and tanks. But
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes.
an interesting take. I would,
It's a bit more of a primary holder, but yeah, it's
yeah.
again not doing. He's had some decent. The double Land Raider. I don't know how he's managed to survive through that, but I'm assuming he's just used the wraiths as more durable. But
The thing I find with melee focused Necrons is that the way to win with Necrons is to activate your entire army and then try and limit the activations of your opponent's army so that you're always getting more value out of yours than they are of theirs. But then if you're playing into a melee army and you're charging with Scorpec destroyers, then you never really want to charge with more than one unit because as soon as you do, the second unit just gets interrupted and killed. So then you're not getting the value out of your units and you're giving them the value from theirs. So I find 2 wins against the World Eaters very interesting because he must have paced it so that maybe it was just a race squad and a Scorpec squad, and then he interrupts into the race, but the race don't really care because they're there just to act as a sponge anyway. That could have been how he handled that situation. But
mm-hmm.
yeah, so when I try and build Awakened Dynasty list, I always make it a bit more balanced between shooting and melee so that if I do come up against that melee on the army, then I can get the value out of my shooting and some of my melee units rather than specifically not charging because I know that 8 bounded is going to kill my Scorpec destroyers before I get to activate them, for example.
Yep, I
So yeah,
agree.
well done to him for winning that matchup twice.
Yeah, I've been playing a full melee Awakened Dynasty list at my first round of that league, my local league we're doing,
Yeah,
and I was not impressed by it. I really want to change, but I don't want to change. You can change one lit once out of in 6 weeks. I don't want to do it after the first week because I'm gonna really struggle to
well,
decide what I want to play.
I'm also a big proponent of sticking with a list and just play it, and then you'll get a better feel of what changes you want to make. Playing one game with a list, even though it didn't feel great, is too early to change. I think you need
Yeah.
more than one. So, right,
Right. So now we're on to the Trunderdome,
this
which
is
I don't know what that
this
dome is.
this is definitely the list that we were most looking forward to talking about, right?
Yeah. So we called this list ourselves the "If I Own It" list
Yeah,
because he's gone 4-1, losing into the final round as well. So he's
yeah,
gone undefeated all the way with just the most crazy collection of units, and he has 5 points left, and he's kept the Void Dragon and not the
the really,
Nightbringer. So
yeah,
he's he's not allowed that. So he's got the Void Dragon, Hexmark, Imhotep, and this is an Awakened list.
yeah,
Scorpeth Lord with no Fiona Pain enhancement.
yeah.
Technomancer with no
Well,
enhancement either. Silent King, two Doomstalkers
yeah,
in two Doomstalkers in
uh,
Awakened.
yeah.
Crazy.
Not even with
Reanimator.
not even with the +1 to hit or either as
No,
well.
just raw dogging
Yeah,
it with the Silent King, rerolling
exactly.
ones. Race, 5 Lich Guards, 6 Scorpions, and 3 Tombblades. That is
Yeah,
it.
and it just doesn't look like there's anything in the actual list, does it? As well,
It's.
you know.
I just don't know if you even respect this list.
Yeah, you know the
How
Scots.
does it? How does it trade with a small unit? It's just I don't understand. It's got big bricks.
Yeah, there's not a great deal of like scary shooting there. Yes, you got the Silent King with his two minis and his little indirect, and the Void Dragon, into the right target can be quite good. But if you've got a 4 up pinball, his spear never does anything. It's always rolls a 1 or they make the save, and then 6 Scorpet destroyers with the Lord, but no enhancements for any durability. Like it's a big brick. That it's not easy to rapid ingress 6 Scorpex and a Lord on the side of the table without them being seen, and then
He,
I
first round, he beat double grav tank,
yeah
solar spearhead custodes. Like,
yeah.
he's. I need to speak to you, sir. I need to know what
What's
went
it?
on in all these
What's the name
games.
of the player, Matt?
Evan.
Evan. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, even Steven.
Uh,
Yeah, I need to. I wish I could just speak to some of these players. I want to know what happened in all
I
these
mean,
games. Why
so
you took what you took.
the Tronderdome was only a small tournament, so
Mm,
it's probably like a local game store with just like a local group. Um, so it could just be a case of maybe he's just better than everybody else there,
mm.
and it doesn't matter what he takes. Maybe he just said, "Look, I'll just put my hand in my box, and I will pull out the first models that come, and we'll make a list, and then I'll fill in the last 100 points
He's
with."
probably been saying, "I've been watching Command Protocols podcast, and these have always been in I Own It, so let's just
Yeah,
put it together."
yeah, and win. So,
He played in the final round, Champions of Russ, Space Wolves with double Chaplin and
and
jump pack.
he did actually win the tournament as well, but with a 4-1 record.
Yeah, because the guy he played in the final round had two draws,
Yes.
which is mental.
And then I think he played and beat the Eldari player in round 3 that finished second. So that's why he got paired down into the Space Wolves at the end, because he
Mm,
played the Dark Angels player. No, he hadn't played the Dark Angels player, never mind. But, I mean, that's just the quaintness of a small tournament, in that
yeah,
if you are just slightly better than your opponents, then you can just
hmm
basically
for sure.
turn up
Yeah,
with whatever you want, maybe.
and it's cool to see lists like this. It really is. People
Yes.
winning with just anything, which means that we can make good
Play,
lists
player skill matters more than the
for
list you
sure.
take, then, but maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, then we've got one more list, I think, to look at this week.
Yes. So we got Joshua Campbell.
Yep.
We were just chatting to him earlier today,
Yep.
and yeah, he went 4-1 at the UTC Invitational Finals. I think he lost to Iron Storm
Marines.
Space Marines
That's fine.
in the last round.
Yeah.
So he's
Joshua.
playing American. Go
Joshua
on.
was the number 2 ranked ITC player for Necrons last season at the end of the season. So he's not spoken to me for a couple of weeks because of that.
And I love his list name as well. If
Yes,
you
I
know
do as
someone,
well.
if
I'm
someone you know has a
100%.
DDA problem, very good.
I'm
I like it.
100% going to copy that for my next one, but I'm just going to change the phone number so it's not in American.
Yeah, not some rubbish phone number.
Yep. So Josh, we love that name, and the list is spicy. I have to say, we've had a lot of discussion about this list. Um, yeah, it's
So you got
it,
double hex mark, Elup Zaraz, Imatek, triple Plasmancer, triple Scorpeth Lord,
yeah,
triple 5 Immortals,
yeah,
Scarabs, triple DDA, Flayed Ones Ophidian, Scorpeth.
yeah. So simple. Take 3 of everything that you like. Like this to me screams like this would be a good teams list against like infantry spam again, because there's no real big damage output guns apart from the DDAs, and we all know that 3 DDAs isn't the most reliable thing. It often needs some backup in the form of the Silent King or some Gauss destroyers. But, obviously he didn't need it. Well, maybe he did need it in the last round. That might have helped. But, um, you know,
Yeah, I like the Plasmancers, the Mortals, with doing
yeah.
Mortals with the Immortals.
Hmm.
Um, Obviously, we were discussing the difference between those units and
Miss,
Locus Heavy. Yeah, with mythics.
Yeah,
That big unit that veils. I like a big unit of Tenemals and the mythics, but also love a night scythe to go with all that
yeah.
potentially. But we're just trying to work that out.
I think the beauty of the Plasmancers is the Immortals are there to help the Plasmancers more than the Plasmancers there to help the Immortals. Because you don't want to take three Plasmancers by themselves; they just die when you look at them. Like even as three Scarabs probably kill a Plasmancer because they've got what, four
They
wounds, toughness
explode.
four, and a four up armor save. But they really benefit from being in the Immortal squad in that they get rerolls to wound on their Strength 7, AP 3 damage 2. Shooting, and then they also get +1 to hit, which helps them because they're ballistic skill 4. So they benefit nicely. That's where the damage is coming from that unit most of the time. But then if you get lucky and pair into something where they've got like a small MSU unit with like toughness 3, 1 wound, then you can chew through them very happily with the Immortals as well. And it's still 11 OC that, could benefit from a few of the stratagems. So, yeah. But I'm with you. I think one mythic squad to give a bit of variation in terms of strength, AP, and damage output is preferable over having three squads there. But hey, it's in America, so they have different terrain as well, which I'm sure made a bit of a difference when it came to choosing what to play.
Hmm. Yeah, we definitely need to get him on and have a chat about some lists and stuff like that
Yeah,
potentially.
LVO and Worlds
Yeah, all that
as
kind
well,
of
because
stuff.
he also went to the World Championships last year.
Yeah,
Um,
we'll get him. All three of us can have a little chat at some
yeah,
point.
exactly. So yeah,
No,
that's the
that's all the list for the weekend.
best of all. What does it say to you? All the lists we've seen have basically been completely different from each other.
I'm a big fan. I'm so glad we've got some diversity, and I think there's still more to uncover. I do. I think there's lists out there that nobody's running because the meta's changing all around us, and we're not changing that much, really. I think that because of what's become good after the Christmas detachments and stuff like that, that we're going to be changing quite a bit as a faction of what we run. There's a lot more infantry killing stuff as tanks kind of start to die down, as guard becomes more popular, and Slanesh demons and Grey Knights are obviously now quite popular again, and
Plus,
stuff like that.
we've got a new Eldar Codex coming out. So
Yep, and Eldar. So we need to kind of figure out what's good into that.
yeah,
And I think Awaken does have the key to stand up to Eldar through its pure durability alone.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, if you look
and
back, sorry, to at the start of the edition, when you had busted Eldar, then Awakened Dynasty, aka the Index Necrons, was one of the few armies that could stand toe to toe with it because of our ability to blank a lot of their damage in terms of feel no pains from like the Spider or from just like the Technomancer with the Lich Guard, Catan's, the single Catan with the 4 at Feel No Pain, for example. So Necrons have been like a pretty consistent counter to Eldar, so we may even see the most popular army becoming more popular. Although I think this week, if you look at the Meta Monday, Chaos Demons was actually more popular than Necrons, so I think we dropped out in terms of being the most popular.
that's just dirty meta chasers
It is.
dropping.
Legion of Excess with its 69% win rate. It's not broken or busted at all, but
No, no,
Necrons
no,
with
no.
our 52% overall and 54 on Star Shatter, that is.
That's hotfix nerf Necrons,
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly. But, I mean, Legion of Excess is the new hotness. But I
Yeah,
think that we have played to Legion of Excess as an army.
I've
We
heard
have,
some bits that there are nerfs coming to Legions of Excess, focusing on the durability of the greater demons. So, luckily, I think there should be some changes to that for us as well, because that's a terrible matchup as well for us.
the main thing that I think we need to see nerfed is the you can't shoot your stratagem because
Yeah.
I've experienced that, and it is absolutely disgusting. Like I've
That's what
had,
lost me the game versus Manny when I played it with my Grey Knights. That literally lost me the game.
yeah,
I tried to shoot it with this one unit that was really pivotal every single turn
yeah,
with a Storm Raven, and I failed it 4 out of 5
yeah.
times. So I just couldn't do anything about this one model that was just existed there.
So I had Shalaxian in combat with a Tesseract Bolt, and the Tesseract Bolt's like, okay, well, I want to shoot you with all my guns just stood right next to me, and Shalaxi goes, well, you need to roll a 9 up to do it because you're at -2 to your leadership, and I'm leadership 7. This is just not going to happen. Of course, I failed it every single time, so I couldn't shoot. And, how I won the game, I don't know, but it was frustrating every single time. Even at the end of the game, when I drew Overwhelming Force and Assassinate, and Shalaxi was the only model left on the table for the demons, stood in the center of the battlefield, I still couldn't shoot it with my Tesseract Bolt to get my points. It's just this is every single turn he used the strat, even to protect his demonettes.
It's the strongest one in my opinion.
It's
Against a shooting army. I played against a lot of Smash players who don't use it as well.
yeah,
But it just makes it -1 to hit, even if it fails. There's no.
exactly.
It's a
There's no
-1
guarantee.
leadership. It's a leadership at -1, which is strong enough. And then if it doesn't work, you're -1 to be hit, which
Look,
is better than most like -1 to hit strats anyway. And
yeah.
then you just can't shoot.
I mean, it's -2 if you're in the shadow.
Yeah.
Which,
It's like,
which, if you
oh
stood
my
in combat with a
lord.
greater demon or you're on their side of the table, you're going to be. So, and you look at like say Death Guard with Cloud of Flies, just -1 to hit, or Eldar with Lightning Fast reactions, -1 to hit, and you're going, okay, well I've got a -1 to hit strat, but also you can't shoot me.
Yeah, but it's fine, guys, because -1 to be wounded needs to be 2 CP. Like, yeah, -1. I would rather pay 1 CP to not be shot, actually, at all.
Yeah,
Right, doesn't it's infinite loan op, 0 inch loan op if you fail the battle shock. Yeah,
yeah,
it's a
and
crazy,
and of
crazy
course you
thing.
then battle shocked as well, so you can't even use any offensive strat.
Yeah, no strats, nothing.
Well, I
Ugh.
suppose you could maybe use the offensive strat when you choose to target the because a lot of our strats are like a unit that hasn't shot yet. So you go, well, I'll put it on this, and then after that they battle shock you, but the strat still perseveres.
But you still can't shoot them anyway.
No, but you'll be able
So
to shoot something else, I guess, ideally. But
yeah,
you've always got to respect it. So you've always got to line up 2 targets with everything that you want to shoot of any value, just on the off chance that they do actually pop that strat. And the worst time would be like they have a single model guy just sat going about to score them 15 points the following turn, and then you can't shoot it because they say no.
yeah,
That can be
it's a
the big
sad time.
swings. If it's just like, oh, we're just doing a firefight, well, fair enough. But if it actually swings the game in terms of points, like it could affect the outcome of a secret mission, for example, which would be worth 20 points at the end of the game. And especially in teams, that can be the difference in winning a draw or a draw and a loss.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. It's ridiculous at the moment how it feels. But I'm glad that we've got all the lists coming out. Hypercrypt still good. Probably more teams based for drawish. Awaken's good. I mean, we're seeing every detachment played, right? Every single one. So it is good that we've got the variety. I think as the meta goes on. So I think I don't know if we're going to do it this week or at some point, but soon we're going to do a list building thing. I think we don't have
Yeah,
time today, but maybe tomorrow or whenever we'll do a list building video. And we're just gonna obviously we run a lot of different styles, but we're going to try and come to a consensus on a decent list, or at least it will showcase what we think about when we're designing a list more than anything.
and how we
Because
think about it as well.
yeah, it's not so much about the finished product for us because we have very different play styles, but it's about like the kind of whole concept of building a list and what you're trying to do.
I mean, we,
So
we still haven't agreed on the attachment that we're going to build it for.
no, so if anybody wants to see anything in particular, let
Yeah,
us know. We have most experience on Star Shatter and Hypercrypt. But we'll do one for anything,
I
I
mean,
think, easily enough.
even during the time when I went to a lot of tournaments with Hypercrypt, I still played a lot of Awakened Dynasty and practice games, just because keeping in touch with how to play fair Warhammer is important, because not
Yeah.
every detachment has a cheat code for the movement phase. So it also helps you learn more about the opponents and how they can react normally. So if you don't pick up certain units, it's like, well, what can they do to punish you in that regard? But yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep playing Star Shatter for now, as a general rule. I think with Guard being as popular as they are, with Bridgehead being as popular as it is, I feel like there's going to be a lot more Marines around with infiltrators, for example, and Marines with +1 to wound oaths is not what you want to face when you're playing Hypercrypt list with big chunky boys like
Hmm.
the Tesseract Vault and the Silent King, because if they can wound you on twos, then just critical mass of shots is going to get through eventually, and we're not kitted out to deal with that. So while the metas revolves around those two armies a lot, and um, Chaos Demons with Legion of Excess is also quite tricky, especially if you've got a big model like the Vault that can't shoot the target it wants to shoot. Then for now, I think we're better off playing a slightly more MSU style that can deal with those threats slightly better, so they get less value from their Earth targets and
Hmm.
less value from their stratagems as
Yeah,
well.
which is exactly how it's evolved, which I'm liking because MSU is my favourite way of playing, so
Hmm.
I'm a big fan. So yeah, nice. Is there anything else we want to talk about today, or I think we
Have
can?
you got any tournaments coming up?
I've got a tournament this Sunday, but I really don't know what I want to play. I kind of want to refine my Grey Knight list more, but I also want to test out some Necron list. I list submissions tonight. I don't know what I want to do. I'm so unsure. I
Okay.
mean, I would be lying if I said I wasn't going to tailor a little bit because I know everybody plays Custodies and Space Marines.
Okay, so you
At the
definitely want to play Necrons if you're going into Custodians and Space Marines.
well, I was thinking Grey Knights would actually be all right with the,
No.
but who knows?
No.
I'm unsure. We'll probably discuss it a bit later.
Yeah.
I can decide what I want to play. But yeah, how about you? Have you got any tournaments coming up?
So not this week. Next week I have a single day RTT. One of the local tournament organisers has got a tournament of champions, and I managed to win one of their GTs. So I'm going to be heading down to that. Hopefully beating all the other players who also won their GTs this last year. Um, maybe
Is that the one I came third in? The
yeah, the one where I beat you in the
where we
final. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, you beat me in the final. Yeah,
that one. Yeah,
that one.
yeah. Nightbringer's better than the Monolith. Remember that, everybody.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, so I've got that tournament, and then I think it's after that. It's going to be Manchester in March.
Mm. That is far too close. I'm going to Pyra as well, actually, at the end of the month. But I'm not playing. I'm coaching because there's only limited spots to play, and they picked because I went to Battle of Britain, so they picked most of the people that didn't go there and a couple of others. So I'm going there to coach, but I'm just going for the experience because it's amazing kind of thing just to meet all of these people that you kind of see online. And now that I'm getting into the actual big time competitive side of it, you'll be seeing them more and more. And hopefully, if I go to WTC with Team England, then yeah, I'll be able to play against them as well. So it's really
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'll bring you a little magnet of some sort.
Thank you.
Yeah, it'd be
Oh,
good. So yeah, I think that's about it. And
awesome.
yeah, next video probably gonna be either a list build or a tier list, and then we'll do another uh, podcast next week. I think
Yeah.
something like that. All right, catch you later, guys.
Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.